Hey guys, Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana here today. It is March 10th. It's a Thursday, and I'm going to start doing these, every 3 or 4 days, just to kind of quick little 10 minutes or less snapshot of some things that I'm noticing in the NBA as we kind of wind down the season. We're getting close to the end. This is not going to be a basketball card related video. It's just going to be about the NBA in general. And like I said, I've just got a couple notes that I wrote down, just some stuff I want to talk about, just to get the comments flowing and just put some content out there and just really kind of take the pulse of the NBA as we kind of approach the last, 15 to 18 games of the season for each of these teams. I'm not going to touch on tons of topics because I only have 10 minutes, but I do want to get started. So the first thing I want to talk about is basically Sixth Man of the Year. To me, is a wrap. Tyler Herro's got this award wrapped up. I've kind of fiddled through some of the teams to think if there's anybody else that really had a chance to match, but Tyler Herro's taken such a huge jump, and he's been incredibly consistent, even pushed for that all-star spot. I mean, I can't imagine anybody else having any shot at Sixth Man of the Year. I mean, I would say Anthony Simons, but he's no longer a sixth man, so he's not going to qualify, I don't think. It's Tyler Herro's award. I think that's a wrap. Let me know if you disagree with me. That's just my first observation. Number 2 is most improved player. This is interesting, right? So I think it's DeJounte Murray's award. I can see some other potential possibilities in here. Anthony Simons was in the mix. He's missed a couple games. He's taken a huge step forward. Obviously, Garland is certainly in the mix. Really, I think it might be a 2-horse race, DeJounte and Garland. I'd probably give the nod to DeJounte. They both made the All-Star team. Garland's team's doing better, which actually may improve his chances. It really is a 2-horse race for most improved player, in my opinion, between DeJounte and Garland. Some other names you could throw in there, John Morant, but he's going to get so much hype. He's actually on my list of MVP candidates, which we're about to talk about sort of on the outside looking in. He's going to be getting, looked at for so many other issues. I don't know. He was so good last year that his jump, I don't think, is quite as staggering. And really, this award just goes to, who shocked us the most, right? That's what most improved player ends up being, is who surprised you the most and took the biggest leap from before and after. And Morant was so good before that his leap, even though it is astronomical, especially from an efficiency standpoint, I think DeJounte and Garland are 1-2 in some order. Miles Bridges came out of the gate super hot early in the season for the Hornets, and I thought maybe he had a chance to be in there, but he's kind of cooled off significantly. I knew he couldn't keep up that shooting because he's just not a great shooter, and so he's kind of fallen off. And then Tyrese Maxey's another one. Great jump from rookie year to second year, but again, nowhere in the class of DeJounte and Garland. So I think those two guys are my 2 favorites for most improved player. Again, I didn't go through and dig through every single team and every roster to look at anything statistically or analytically. This is just my general thoughts because just something that popped into my head this morning. Next is Rookie of the Year. This is a 3-horse race, and I really believe this is still open, right? So you've got Cade Cunningham, who's coming in strong, finishing ridiculously strong down the stretch. The Pistons are not quite as terrible as they have been the entire season. He's putting up ridiculous numbers. If he hadn't come out of the gates the first 15 games shooting an unbelievably paltry percentage from the floor, I mean, everybody was yelling flop, overrated, this, that. That dude has started to click. The game is slowing down. He's figuring it out. He's a big, strong, physical, consistent, well-rounded point guard. Kind of reminds me of DeJounte Murray, only a much better feel for scoring the ball. Probably not the same defender as DeJounte, but same length, same size, just intelligence, real good basketball IQ. And he's doing a lot lately with very little around him. Sadiq Bey is a pretty good player. A couple other guys are chipping in, but look, his roster is not good. I think Cade is making a strong push. I honestly believe in the next 15 games, he's going to take this award away from Mobley and Barnes. I like Barnes more than Mobley, but Mobley's team success and Mobley's impact on the game from an analytical standpoint defensively is a really big deal. Again, if I had to pick, which of these 3 rookies that I would want long-term in order, I'd probably go Cade, Barnes, Mobley. A lot of people keep throwing out KG and Anthony Davis. when they compare, Mobley. I don't see that stuff. I mean, I think he's a really good player, but I don't see that type of stuff. I see maybe some Bam Adebayo type stuff. But I don't see KG and Anthony Davis, and a lot of people are kind of throwing those names around. I just don't see it there. Number one, he's got to put on a lot of weight and a lot of muscle. But again, I don't want to get distracted. Mobley's a fantastic player. And right now, I'd say he's probably in the 1 seat. But Cade Cunningham is coming on incredibly strong, and Barnes just continues to be really efficient. The Raptors are probably overachieving, considering everybody just considered this a rebuild. Long term, you can't miss with all 3 of those guys. 2 more guys that we got to mention. Franz Wagner, maybe not so much in the last few games, but had about a 10-15 game stretch there where he was really making moves. So he's probably 4th or 5th on my list. And then Josh Giddey would be the other one in my top 5. I think those 5 are the only 5 you could even talk about. Josh Giddey's doing some really good things at a really young age, but he's been injured the last few games, and that's going to hurt him. Especially the Thunder and the Magic are being, just being horrible teams are really going to hurt them. So Cade's finishing strong, and therefore there's that recency bias. Giddey's injured, Franz Wagner's cooled off, so I think they're out. So I think it's going to finish Cade, Mobley, Barnes, but right now it's probably Mobley, Cade, Barnes, something like that. That's Rookie of the Year. MVP, right? I did a video on MVP at the halfway mark just before the All-Star break, and not too much has changed. I still think I think the predicted order, I shouldn't say my order, the predicted order of finish, in my opinion, Embiid, Jokic, Giannis right now, or Embiid, Giannis, Jokic. I can't decide, right? And it's hard for me to be objective because you guys know how I feel about Giannis, but I've got Embiid 1. Embiid is going to benefit from the I've never won it before bias, which exists regardless of what voters say. That does exist. Voters do not like to give this award to the same player twice in a row, and they certainly don't like to give it to the same player 3 times in 4 years, which would be Giannis. Jokic, having won it last year, is going to have to overcome that hurdle. Jokic's analytical numbers are absolutely ridiculous. He's doing tons with that Nuggets team. I think the Nuggets, let me switch over here real quick. I think the Nuggets are in, what are they in? Yeah, he's got them in 6th place, and he hasn't had Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. He had Michael Porter Jr. a little bit, but he was injured and playing terrible. So he's doing this with like Monty Morris and on again, off again, Aaron Gordon. I don't even want to go through the Nuggets roster, but there's not a lot there. I mean, they're good players, but not great players. So Jokic's numbers are absolutely preposterous. But right now, I've got Embiid 1, Jokic 2, Giannis 3. Embiid had the big advantage of he had the best of the 3 teams between the Bucks, the Nuggets, and the Sixers. But last night, the Bucks win, vaulted them ahead of the Sixers. So as you can see here on the screen, the Bucks are in 2nd. They're making that push for 1st. If for some reason the Sixers falter at all, like if they lose to the Nets tonight in this big game that everybody's hyped up about, if they drop and they end up being like 4th or 5th or something like that, I think Giannis could vault right back into MVP favorite. All 3 of those guys statistically are absolutely off the charts. No one's even close. Next on the list, you got Morant coming in strong. I've still got Morant in 4th because statistically he's not there. Again, his numbers are significantly improved over last year. He's a incredible player. He's a feel-good story. He's a super hype beast machine right now. Everybody wants him in the card market, but I still have Morant 4th on the list. DeRozan 5th on the list, and then you've got Doncic, Booker, and Tatum. All 3 of those guys are putting up MVP-type numbers, especially Tatum and Doncic lately, and Booker's now doing it. They're winning games without Chris Paul. I mean, for God's sakes, out of they're 7-3 in their last 10 games, and Booker's playing point guard basically with Cameron Payne pitching in a little bit. But it just goes to show you, can we dispel the Chris Paul for MVP BS? I'm so tired of hearing about that. I'm tired of people talking about that. That is the most preposterous thing ever. It's more ridiculous than the DeRozan for MVP talk. You can see how good the Suns are. They're doing it without Chris Paul, and Booker's running the show. Booker's been the best player on the team for years. He's going to be the best player on the team for years to come. He's better than Chris Paul, and therefore I've got him in my top 8 or 9 MVP candidates ahead of Chris Paul. And then Tatum, again, is just going on some preposterous run right now. He's got the Celtics, believe it or not. We wrote them off. We thought they were like a play-in team. The Celtics are now 4 games out of 1st. They're going to end up winning 50 games, and they don't even have have a point guard, to be quite honest with you. They dealt Schroeder, and I don't even know who's playing point guard. I don't really watch many Celtics games. I like Jaylen Brown. Jaylen and Tatum are devastating and versatile and flexible on the wings. I guess Marcus Smart's technically their point guard. I know Peyton Pritchard comes off the bench, but they're kind of a hodgepodge. I don't see them doing much in the playoffs because they don't have a true go-to point guard to put the ball in their hands. I think it's going to take a lot out of Tatum and Jaylen to do all that extra ball handling in the playoffs. But that's my MVP order. Embiid, and then I can't decide between Jokic and Giannis. Both of them have their reasons. And again, this is so fluid. I think any of those three guys can win it, but I don't think any of the next in line can. So I think it's coming down to one of those three guys. And really, it just depends on how Embiid and his team finish down the stretch here. Obviously, I think a late season injury would eliminate any of those three and put it in the hands of the other two. So something to keep an eye on. We're at game, 66, 65, something like that. So we have 16, 17 games left. Still a lot to be decided in the MVP race. Next, I just wanted to chat lastly about the East and West standings and just take a quick look at what's going on here. Recently, we've seen the Heat surge. The Heat worry the hell out of me as a Bucks fan. Incredible depth. Oladipo's back. When Oladipo's like your 6th or 7th best player, you're a really deep team. People are sleeping on the Heat. The Heat have traditionally, notwithstanding the sweep, I think that the Bucks put on them, and the ass whipping the Bucks put on them last time in the playoffs. But as you recall, before that, I think it was the bubble year. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I think it was the bubble year. The Heat put it on the Bucks. The Heat are a tough matchup for the Bucks because Bam Adebayo really does usually, when healthy, guard Antetokounmpo really well because he's so flexible and moves his feet real well on screen and rolls and can recover really well. And he's big and strong. The Heat are a problem, man. The Bucks are a problem. The Sixers are a filthy, ridiculous starting five. They don't have the depth of those other two teams. The Bulls got to get LaMelo back. Got to get Caruso back. Those two guys are crucial. They're a very good defensive team with those guys, not a good defensive team without those guys. As you can see, they've won, 5 out of their last 10, so they're kind of floundering. The Celtics are surging. Again, I just don't see it happening. The Cavaliers have no chance without Jared Allen. Really, I don't think they have the experience, and they haven't been there, done that to really challenge anyway. They're a feel-good story. They're in the 6th spot. They'll probably hold that 6th spot. And then after that, out of these 4 teams, only the Nets have a chance. And again, it depends on the vaccination situation. Don't even get me started on that. But if Simmons comes back 100% healthy and you've got Kyrie for 100% of the playoff games, the Nets are every bit as capable as those top 3 teams, the Heat, the Bucks, and the Sixers, are coming out of the East. Let's talk about the West. In the West, the Suns just continue to win. Like I said, without Chris Paul, they've got the best record amongst the top 5 teams in the last 10 games without Chris Paul. That's with Booker running the point and then, just kind of point guard by committee for the reserve role. The Grizzlies, what can we say? They have no chance. Nobody has any chance to catch the Suns. We know that. There's only 16, 17, 18 games left. Nobody's catching the Suns. So they're playing for playoff seeding. And the interesting thing here is, are these teams trying to avoid a potential matchup with the Lakers, or are they trying to get one? And then the next question is, are the Lakers even going to make the playoffs? That's interesting. So looking at this 8, not really 8, but 9, 10, 11, 12 situation in the West. These are teams that are fighting for that play-in game where you have to win. It's a win or go home, basically, in the 9-10 game. So the Lakers are in there, but they're only a game and a half up on the Pelicans. The Pelicans, about 72 hours ago, were in an incredible position. Ingram was on fire. Big JV was playing fantastic. Zion was rumored to be coming back in a couple weeks. They were on top of the world. They're going to be in the play-in. They're in right now as the 10th spot. Everything was roses for the Pelicans. And then my guy, Brandon Ingram, who's one of the stars on my fantasy dynasty team, has hamstring issues. They got an MRI. He's out 7 to 10 days. I'm telling you, if he's out 10 days, they're going to probably lose 6 out of 7, 7 out of 8, depending on how many games they have in that stretch. And that's just him getting reevaluated. He may be out 14 to 21, which Griffin may go into typical Griffin mode and try to lose on purpose to get ping pong balls. So I don't know what's going to happen in that 9-10 spot. The Lakers can't win. They're 2 out of their last 10. I mean, that's ridiculous. LeBron's putting up great numbers, but he was like minus 17 last night and had a triple-double. So I don't know what's going on with that team. Just not the same team without Anthony Davis, and really weren't that great with Anthony Davis. So just a horribly horrible fit. Everything about the Lakers is just chaos. Everybody except for Pelinka and LeBron knew that Westbrook was going to be an absolutely awful fit. They should have done the deal to bring Buddy Hield and some other young, talented, versatile wings in there, and they just didn't do it. Thinking about the people that the Lakers had that they let go. Lonzo, Ingram, Kuzma, Randall, who am I forgetting? Josh Hart. Go down the list. I mean, they've let some really good players go that they shouldn't have. So Lakers and Pelicans have that 9 and 10 spot for now. The Clippers continue to win somehow. I have no idea how. Minnesota's entrenched. They could actually push for a 5 or 6 seed, because they're playing good basketball. They won 8 out of their last 10, and so have the Clippers somehow. I have no idea how. If the Clippers somehow get Paul George and Kawhi Leonard back, which I need to check on that status again. I'm sorry, I'm not up to date on it, but if those two guys show up, they have as good a chance as anybody in the West. I don't care what anybody says. That team is clicking now without those guys. They're over 500 without 2 of the probably 15 best players in the NBA. If those guys come back, it's on, and the Clippers become extremely relevant. And you talk about coming out of nowhere. They absolutely could come through and win the West. You've got the Blazers. It looks like they've shut it down. They've got Simons on the bench for 2 games in a row. They were doing great when he was playing. Now they've lost 6 in a row. I don't know if they can catch the Pelicans or the Lakers. It's going to be a lose fest between the Pelicans and the Blazers. The Kings and the Spurs, I honestly believe they're trying to make the playoffs. The Blazers, I think, are trying not to make the playoffs. They've got a bunch of G Leaguers playing. The Spurs and the Kings, I think they're trying. They just can't win damn games, despite DeJounte Murray being a freak of nature and putting up incredible stats. Like I said, he's my favorite for most improved player. And the Kings just can't click. I don't know what the deal is. Fox is having an incredible last 15, 20 games. Go look at his stats. He's actually on fire. He's a really good investment right now, in my opinion. That's just me, because he's not going to be a Sacramento King forever, thank God. But anyway, that's it. That's some of my thoughts, guys. I just wanted to share that with you today. Nothing to it. Just wanted to get to your comments. I love talking NBA basketball. If you guys got anything to contribute to this, let me know. I'm going to try to do one of these videos maybe every 4 or 5 days, just to kind of take a snapshot of what's happening, what's happened recently, what the talk of the NBA is, and where this thing's headed. I love looking at award races like the MVP, Rookie of the Year, Most Improved, Sixth Man. I didn't even talk about Coach of the Year and some of these other awards, but NBA Defensive Player of the Year, some other cool stuff. So anyway, comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you like these videos. If you do, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace, fellas.